What's up everybody, it's Nate again from Sneakers and Streets, and we've got an awesome battle today. It's a comparison between Nike's Flyknit and Adidas Primeknit. Real quick, just before we get into it, I want to remind you that I appreciate each and every person who likes, comments, and subscribes. We're just a growing channel. Every one of you makes a difference. Plus, I read and appreciate every single comment you guys give me, whether you're praising the video or you're giving me criticism. I love all of it. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Primeknit versus Flyknit. Now when we talk about both of these knit materials, I won't be talking about the midsoles, I won't be talking about cushioning materials. We're just gonna focus on that knit material. We're gonna isolate that so that we can really get to the core of the discussion here. There's plenty of other things we could talk about in a separate one where we talk about cushioning, lunar lawn and react versus boost. We could talk about other midsoles. We could talk about a million things here, but today we're just talking about these two knit materials. Now, as a small bit of history, both of these materials made their debuts in 2012. During the 2012 Olympics, Nike released their Flyknit Racer and their Flyknit trainers, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And at the same time, Adidas released the Primeknit Adizero. Both of these sneakers came from a very similar background. Athletes were asking for more comfortable, sock-like fits in the shoes that they were getting. Of course, there were other sock-type shoes, for example, the Nike Prestos, but this knit type material is totally different. And both companies really wanted to take hold of that technology and not let anybody else use it. Interestingly, both of these companies, Adidas and Nike, tried to sue each other over these products. Adidas said that Nike was copying them, and at the same time, Nike was saying that Adidas copied them. At the end of the day, neither was really victorious, and they decided that knit material wasn't proprietary to a single brand. It was able to be made by Adidas, by Nike, or anybody else who wants to do it as well. And after all those legal battles finished, you could see a million different companies making their own knit material shoes. You can find an Asics knit, you can find a Puma knit. There's a million different types. Even if you go to Target, you'll probably find a generic knit type sneaker. Now today, we're just talking about the two godfathers of the knit technology, the Nike Flyknit and the Adidas Primeknit. History aside though, let's get into it. Let's compare these two knit technologies. The price points tend to be pretty similar. However, between the Ultra Boost and the Flyknit Racers, there was a small difference, with Ultra Boost retailing usually at $180 and Flyknit Racers usually retailing at about $150. And if we do the comparison at a more surface level, if we just talk about the looks, I think that's a fairly subjective matter to talk about. I think both knits can look really good. Now, they do look different though, and that's what we should be focusing on. Flyknit tends to use more structured, larger pieces of material. When you look closely, you can actually see every individual little piece of the yarn. With Primeknit though, that's not usually the case. It's generally a more uniform type of pattern. It's hard to delineate every little piece of yarn, even though that there are many with patterns. For a lot of people, they consider Flyknit to be the more aesthetically pleasing material. Both technologies though are very malleable now. You can do all types of different colors, and especially multicolors. Adidas has really stepped up their game in that regard. Now, the feel of the material is probably the most important in my opinion. When you feel Primeknit, it is just ultra soft. I mean, you can really run your fingers through that and it'll bounce right back to shape. It's ultra stretchy and totally conforms to your foot. Now, there will be some areas of the Primeknit that are made stiffer for the structural integrity of the shoe. However, it is just a much more overall soft and comfortable feel. When we get to Flyknit, there is some stretch to it, but it's a much more rigid feeling. Interestingly, places in the Ultra Boost, like the toe box where you can find a ton of stretchiness, are actually where they made it the least stretchy on the Flyknit Racer. On the toe box, actually melt plastic into the threads here, that way they hold shape and don't stretch too much. Being less stretchy isn't a totally bad thing, not at all. It actually provides a ton more structural integrity to the shoe. You really can run in a Flyknit Racer, but you cannot run in an Ultra Boost, at least very well. Runners don't regard the Ultra Boost as a running shoe, even though that's what the Adidas website says. The Ultra Boost just isn't great as a running shoe. It doesn't provide that structure that even a Flyknit Racer will provide. So in my opinion, Primeknit, or at least the Primeknit on the Ultra Boost, is definitely best for casual or lifestyle wear. To me at least, it seems like a comfort material. It's best for conforming to your foot, making the feel sock-like, and just feeling ultra soft. On the other hand, Flyknit seems to be more of an athletic material. Not only does it seem to really provide more of a structure for your foot, it also is quite a bit thinner and more breathable, and you're usually able to get much bigger ventilation holes on a Flyknit shoe. I mean, when you look closely, I can literally see through one end of the shoe and out the other. I can see all the way through it. And real quick, I know you guys are gonna mention the new Ultra Boost Clima, and I know that exists. I'm just gonna leave that for a whole different video. I think that material is a different version of Primeknit, and I think it requires its own comparison video. So for the purposes of this, we're gonna leave that out entirely. And in my experience, these tend to breathe a lot better than any of the Primeknit shoes I've worn. The thinness of the material and the amount of ventilation holes means Flyknit tends to be quite a bit better at venting out heat. Primeknit isn't the worst at ventilating by a long shot. If you're gonna compare an Ultra Boost or an NMD to that of a Jordan 1 or a Stan Smith, of course it's going to be a lot more breathable than those two. Primeknit is just usually a lot less breathable than Flyknit. The heat retention on Primeknit is something I've noticed on a whole lot of different models, not just the Ultra Boost 1.0. I've noticed it on NMDs, on EQTs, on Yeezys, on a whole lot of Primeknit materials. In my opinion, it feels a lot warmer than you get in any Flyknit shoe. Now, that's not bad. A lot of people want a warmer shoe. If you're in colder climates, that's not gonna hurt you at all, it's gonna help you. Myself though, I tend to like having my shoes feel ventilated and feel cool. Occasionally, I will find myself pulling my feet out of my shoe when I'm wearing Ultra Boost just to let them air out a little bit, and I don't like doing that, it's a little gross. Another difference that I found is the durability of the two knits. Primeknit tends to be pretty delicate. I found that even a cleaning brush can fray the threads and mess it up. On the other hand, Flyknit does tend to be a bit more durable. When you clean it, when you brush it, when you work out on it, it tends not to fray as much. It seems to me like the hardness of the material kind of correlates with the durability of it. While Primeknit is softer, it tends to be easier to mess up, and Flyknit is a bit harder and less comfortable, but a lot more durable. I mean, I'll even do this. I'll take some scissors and just... I mean, that didn't do anything in the toe box because it's so much more durable. I would just never do that to a pair of Primeknit shoes. Yeah, I just did that to my shoes. Now, I think I've covered most of the important points about these two types of knit materials. So right now, I'll declare the winner in 3, 2, 1. There's not a winner. They're both great materials. They're both great technologies, and I use both. Now, that's not to say they each don't have their strengths and weaknesses. They definitely do. I just think that you should usually use them in different scenarios. I find Primeknit to be the best lifestyle sneaker, the best casual sneaker. Super soft, super comfortable. If you just want to forget you're wearing a shoe, that's what Primeknit's for. On the other side, in my opinion, Flyknit is the much better activewear material. It's thinner, it has more structure, and it ventilates a lot better than almost every Primeknit model out there. I am a big fan of both types of technology. I use both every day. I'll wear Ultra Boost during work or when I go to school, and then when I go out to the gym at night, I'll probably put some Flyknits on. Or if it's a hot day this summer, I'll probably be wearing Flyknit all the time. I don't like having sweaty feet, and so that's a great thing that the Flyknits can prevent. It's silly to say that one is just plain better than the other. Primeknit does some things really well, and Flyknit does other things very well. So what do you guys think? Do you have a favorite? Do you have one that you use in certain scenarios and not others? Is there something I missed about Flyknit or Primeknit? Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear all your opinions. Plus, maybe I'll be able to pick up one of the Ultra Boost Climas. That would be an awesome comparison to do. And before we get out of here, I just want to remind you that I do appreciate every comment, every like, and every subscribe. That, and I do have all of my equipment down in the description below. All of my tripods, my cameras, my lighting, the shoe display, and everything behind me you can find down there. They're Amazon affiliate links, so I'm not sponsored by any of the companies below. I just get a small kickback if you purchase anything through my link. Thank you for supporting the channel, thank you for watching today's video, and we'll see you again next week.